Here's Captain Obvious. And the last question from Effing Controller is this last James Lipton question, which is, and finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive? I guess it would be kind of cool to hear him say, "Hey buddy, loved Valentis 2 LP." Or possibly something like, "Hey, like, ooh, I love your Wolfman voice, daddy. Hey, Bobo won't be here for a while, but when he gets here, I've got this hack of Secret of Mana 2 where you can play with 3 different players. I was wondering if you guys wanted to play and we could each be somebody and use the characters you didn't use in your Secret of Mana 2 LP. That would be a cool thing for God to say. Kind of ridiculous thing for God to say. But how big of an ego have I got? What do you want God to say? I'd like him to say I'm a fan. Now, Piano Keys asked a question. Here's a picture of a bunch of bongs that you can buy. Piano Keys asked, will you ever do another LP together with Bobo? Those were/are funny. No, never. Never going to do another one of those. But then, he noticed that that was actually silly, and that I was currently doing an LP with Bobo when he asked the question. So he said, I guess my question then is, where is SkyTower? Where is SkyTower? So let's see if we can't answer that question. What would be the best way to do that? We probably actually just play Breath of Fire 2 for a minute. Hopefully this won't crash anything too bad. Invalid zip archive. Could not open. Doesn't look like it wants to play Breath of Fire 2, sadly. Oh, because I've got it in 7-zip. I have 7-zip. I haven't played with that emulator since getting this computer. I copied the files over, but I guess it's not going to play from a 7-zip archive? That seems odd. Okay, now it is going to let me do it. But is it going to recognize my save states? It does recognize my save states. Wow, here's one that could end up taking much longer than it should have. Am I at a point in the game where I've got part? No. I'd have to find a load game where I've got a... I don't think I can show you. I think I've got really old saves on this. I don't think this archive that I've got now is going to work here. Yeah, these are early in the game. I must have been in a whole different folder where I was actually playing it and near the end of the game. So I'm not going to be able to show you. Sorry. No, can't tell you where SkyTower is. Damn, I should have thought about that ahead of time, actually. That would have been one that it would have been fun to be able to answer that one properly. Yeah.
Right, folks, welcome back to the series.
No, that's no good. Let's see, where is SkyTower?
It is not very good. Let's see what happens in the oceans. Easy to
Going around in the whale, okay.
So yeah, if you're south, you gotta turn yourself out.
Here. Pay attention. Alright, see where we're at here? Going around in this whale. Okay, there's SkyTower. It's sticking out of the water. It's not going up very high in the sky at all. Seems oddly named, but that is in fact SkyTower. So, I was able to answer that question after all. That was SkyTower. Okay. No, not that one. I want this one. Now it's Pancakes Guy's turn to ask questions. And here, this is my first picture from the UK. This is some fucking retard dressed as a druid. This picture was taken at Stonehenge, but I figured, why show you a picture of Stonehenge when I could show you a picture of this fucking retard dressed as a druid? Question number 1 from Pancakes Guy. Why did you start LPing? Is there anything else you might be interested in doing on YouTube? I think I already answered why I would start LPing. I don't think there's anything else I'm really interested in doing on YouTube. Years ago, I kicked around the idea with Bobo and somebody else of trying to do a show where we would do Mystery Science Theater treatments of popular animes, and if we could record it and find out some kind of visual format, whether we'd be like puppets, like Mystery Science Theater actually did puppets or computer animation or something, and we could do that with like Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and stuff. Stuff we didn't have the rights to and would get in real trouble if we tried to make any money off of it. But I had this like silly idea that we could do that and that it would be fun. I think it would be a ton of work, which is why we never really followed up on it. Though Bobo and I sat there writing up scripts for one or two, like funny things that we would say at different points during episodes of Pokemon, actually, and Dragon Ball Z. But no, that's not something we ever really followed up on. I don't really know what, as far as like doing more, I don't know. Maybe you could give me an idea, but I don't know what else to do on YouTube. LPing is relatively effort-free. Next picture. These are prawn cocktail flavored potato chips. What the hell's wrong with you, England? Are you eagerly awaiting your one obligatory troll that comes with every 1,000 subs? Not really. I mentioned, I wouldn't consider him a troll, but I mentioned the guy who cheesed me off because he made fun of puzzle games and quit watching. He unsubscribed me and made a big deal about how my last 2 videos were just spam that he didn't want in his inbox. I also had a guy who, I'm always excited when an LP that I did a long time ago suddenly gets a comment, because especially if it's one that didn't get a lot of attention when it was new. It's always nice to see people going back and watching my old LPs. I get more excited for those generally than I do when the current ones generate interest. But somebody went back and commented on a Bullet Witch video, and I was really excited because I really like my own Bullet Witch LP. Nobody asked me what my favorite LP and least favorite LPs were, actually, that I made. But Bullet Witch is actually an LP I really had a lot of fun with. And I went back and read the comment, and the comment basically said, watched this video because Sean Schemmel, I think his name is, he's the voice actor who played Goku on Dragon Ball Z. So that's your first hint that this guy making this comment's a tool. But it was like, oh yeah, I watched this video because blah blah did a voice in this game. No offense, but you're kind of a spaz. Your videos would be more enjoyable if you didn't talk so much. So I wrote back and I said something like, no offense, but people who say no offense and then make asshole comments are even bigger asshole comments than people who just make asshole comments without saying no offense first. Like, that gives you a fig leaf. And he wrote back and it's like, I was trying to help you, but obviously you're such a dick that you can't even blah blah blah. And I wrote back again and I slammed him again, and I'm like, as I'm doing this, I'm like, why the hell am I answering this guy at all? He's clearly a jerk. He couldn't possibly think that just saying you're a spaz and your videos would be better if you wouldn't talk was like something that I was going to respond to positively. So why am I feeding the troll? And I got the last word and he stopped after like 2 comments back and forth. And so I guess he wasn't a real troll. Maybe he really thought that that was a useful comment that would help me to tell me to stop talking. But yeah, that's as close as I've had to a troll. It was only like 4 comments long. But I was kicking myself for having gotten upset about it. But I was pretty upset at the time, and it made me feel like a tool. And I'm not looking forward to more of that. No. Here's a question. Here's a picture that speaks for itself. It's a picture I took of a poster. It's deeply, deeply disturbing. Do you speak any other languages? That's Pancakes Guy's next question. Well, as anyone who's watched my LP of not even Panzer General so much as Bionic Commando would tell you, I can throw out a couple of German phrases just for funsies. I took German in high school for a couple of years. I'm by no means a fluent German speaker, and I can't understand spoken German well. Unless it's very slow and it doesn't use complicated terms or complicated grammatical constructions. But I did learn a little bit of German in high school, and I'm currently trying to learn some Japanese because I'm going to be going there on my last R&R trip. And I've had, like, I'm most of the way through the level 1 Rosetta Stone for Japanese, so to say that I speak Japanese would be stretching that phrase beyond all credibility. But I have learned a useful phrase in each language. In German, I remember the phrase "Wir machen ihre eigene Wurst" from one of my textbooks. That means we make our own sausage. And in Japanese, I have learned the phrase "Watashi no hashigo wa kawatarete imasen," which means my ladder is not broken. So, and if I were to say that to somebody in Japan, if I said that to somebody in Japan, and I managed to get the pronunciation correct and they understood what I was saying to them, I can only assume that if they would give me an answer, whether it was a polite answer that I am happier I am pleased that your ladder is not broken, or I don't see the ladder you're talking about, or are you okay? Do you need help? No matter how they answered me, I wouldn't understand what they were saying back to me and could do nothing more than just repeat that phrase. So I guess the answer to that question is no, I don't really speak any other languages. Not really. Boom, there is... This doll to me is far more offensive than the N-word, and I took a picture of that in the shop in England. Pancakes Guy goes on to ask, what games do you want to LP in the future? Well, my RPG schedule is like filled well ahead of what I'm probably actually going to be able to do in my LP career, because now that I've got PS1 and 2 games available, I mean, I can do PS2 games now, so clearly I can do PS1 games, and I've always had the ability, well, not always, but I mean, I did LPs of like Bionic Commando and Wet, so I know that I can hook the Xbox up, which means that I could do a couple of games. I was about to start listing games I'm not planning to do. Why in the world would I do that? I'm already running way long here. But I could do, it means I can now do Final Fantasy VIII when I'm done with 10. Breath of Fire 3 and 4 are on the list of things to do, because not only have I not LP'd those games, I never even played them, and I love Breath of Fire and Breath of Fire 2. Breath of Fire 2 is probably my favorite RPG LP I've done. So there's that. At one point I was convinced I was going to do Final Fantasy Tactics. That's looking like more and more remote as other games pop up that I could do. I was also convinced at one point that I was going to do the SNES, original SNES version of Ogre Battle. That one might not be a possibility anymore, or at least not as strong as it was. I was going to do, and I had talked with Bobo the Vulture about maybe splitting this, and between our two channels covering all the games, but I wanted to do all the Metal Gear Solid games. Possibly doing all the Metal Gear games. At one point, he was going to do Metal Gear on the NES, I was going to do Snake's Revenge on the NES, and then he was going to do Metal Gear Solid on the PS1. I was going to do Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater, and then because he has a PS3, he was going to do Guns of the Patriots. That's kind of gone by the wayside, and now I think I'll talk it over with Bobo before I commit to anything, but I might just start doing Metal Gear Solid series by myself, because at this point, other than Guns of the Patriots, I could do any of them. I could do Metal Gear Solid on an emulator, and I've got discs back in Konas to do Sons of Liberty and Snake Eater on my PS2, which is still working as of the last time I tried it. The other big gaming franchise that I had planned to do, because I really enjoyed, I thought about doing this, and I promise Shady Nights, if you're watching, you were LPing 3 games, the last I know of, and one of them, the last one of them, I'm not going to do. I'm already doing Final Fantasy X. I'm not going to do the third one that you were doing, but I was going to do an LP, I figured, of Mass Effect, possibly Mass Effect 2. The biggest question in my mind is, when I get back, do I want to start LPing Mass Effect, or do I want to play offline Mass Effect 3? Because I apparently am the only person in the world who enjoyed Mass Effect more than I enjoyed Mass Effect 2. And I have a sneaking suspicion that if they just keep upping the sex and the, you know, I feel like a lot of the stuff that people really liked about Mass Effect 2, I found to be like cheesy, turning stuff that was okay and good in Mass Effect 1 up to 11 and making it kind of silly. But people loved them some Mass Effect 2, and it was a good game. So I don't know, but yeah, the two big series that I was thinking about tackling, moving away from my old habit of doing stuff that's really obscure, I was thinking about taking on some well-known titles in the form of Mass Effect and the Metal Gear Solid games. I thought about doing Assassin's Creed, but other people who care about Assassin's Creed a lot more than I do have done those games, and I've only ever played the first one. I was going to play it and just make fun of it mercilessly the whole time, but apparently the series got a lot better as it went on. Yeah, I mean, the thing that kept me away from Mass Effect and Assassin's Creed, both of which I own and could have done, is that one of Jeff has already done them. So I think a lot of the people who are watching my channel already watch this channel and probably wouldn't be able to add too much Yeah, so those are ones that I want to LP in the future. And also, I've been on a big kick recently for old games, nostalgia games. Let me pull up something real quick. I've given up on this thing being done efficiently. Here's a game that I was thinking about doing. See, start a brand new game. Binary systems. Get off of there, capture. Oh, you're not seeing the whole window. Oh, and it didn't do the music. I can't always control whether it does the music or not. It seems like it does the music sometimes and doesn't do it other times. Let's give this thing another try. See if this time it'll play the music for us. I haven't figured out why it does sometimes and doesn't other times. It's not because I'm not changing the settings, but sometimes it will play the intro music and sometimes it won't. And the window moved. Come on, play the music. Play the music. Play the music. Play it. No, it's not going to play it. But anyway, this is Starflight. This is like one of the first games I ever played on a computer. And I'm thinking about playing Starflight. If you're interested in hearing more about Starflight, you can go ahead and ask. I don't want to dwell on it too long. But it's a huge, very open world space exploration game. When I played it years ago, it was like a major accomplishment in my mind when I realized that you could, because you have game discs and then you have there's program discs and then game discs, and you play on the game disc and then you install on the program discs. But when you get killed in this game, it writes to your game disc, and on your game state it says you're dead. You can't save and load games in the traditional sense. It wasn't set up that way. And here he is tapping his foot in impatience. But in that game, yeah, you die, and you start over, and it's a really long game. If you don't have the hint book, I can't imagine beating that game without spending weeks at it. And I felt like really proud of myself when I realized that we had two 5 1/4 inch drives on my computer. I would play the game, go into DOS, and make copies. Make a copy of the game disc. Copy disk drive A to disk drive B, and that was the only thing that you could do in that game to not have it really be like. Now people will go out and they will, as a choice, they'll play like Diablo 2 or whatever on like super hardcore mode where if you die your character's dead forever. But people will do that because they get like a rush out of doing it. But you didn't have a choice in StarCraft. That was the way Starflight. That was the way it was set up. So that's a game I was thinking about playing. Now with modern tools, you actually can save your game and go on and do dangerous stuff, get killed and fail, and restore your game, and that's fine. And there's other stuff too. I was thinking about doing an Infocom text adventure too, and I have one of them set up here. Mine Forever Voyaging. And this is going to go into full screen, which I don't want it to do, but at least I figured out how to get it out of full screen. Yes, color. Okay. So this is like an example of an Infocom text adventure, although it's not going to let me resize the video the way that I want it to. And I seem to have broken something in my computer. This is how it works. There's a bunch of text on the screen and you read it. And you talk about what's going on. The problem with this game, as I found out when playing with it earlier, this is a Mind Forever Voyaging or Wandering or whatever. This is one I never actually played. There's other ones that I did play when I was a kid. I read reviews of this one. It's supposed to be interesting because it's like almost an interactive novel rather than a game. I don't know, if I play around with this and I think it's cool, I might suggest it to Grimmeth. People seem to like listening to him talk. People love his speaking voice. This would be kind of an interesting game because he's been doing the G.I. Joe Find Your Fate books and stuff. Problem with this one is that it has copy protection, and I haven't quite found. It's probably out there, but the internet's here so slow it's really hard to search. But I haven't actually found how to go about getting past the copy protection, so that's a problem. So yeah, if you think you'd be interested in seeing me go through like an super old school Infocom text game, I know some of my fans actually like to listen to my LPs while they're not necessarily watching them. That would be perfect for that. If you like to be in the other room cooking or dusting the apartment, That would be right up your alley. So let me know if you'd be interested in anything like that. God, I've been at this for almost 2 hours now. Here's a picture of Betty Boop and the Scottish flag, because I don't know who owns Betty Boop now, but they'll put that shit on any stupid merchandise. Like, what possible connection is there between Betty Boop and Scotland? Why would you buy this? I don't know, but it's for sale on some shop. Pancake Guy goes on to ask, what kind of music do you enjoy? This is a tough one, and I don't want to. I'm already spending too long on these questions, so please don't feel offended if I give this one short shrift. But I don't listen to music for pleasure a lot. The last time I was in a position with a really long commute, I was listening to books on tape. It's not that I don't like music. I'm just not a really big music person. But my music tastes are pretty eclectic. Like, I like Jimi Hendrix and Willie Nelson simultaneously, which is pretty unusual, I would think. Maybe not. Maybe it's not that unusual, but I wouldn't think that they're, if you did like those Van whatever diagrams, I wouldn't think that the overlap between those two sets is huge. But yeah, I like simultaneously enjoy. I like listening to some Pink Floyd, but I also like and Jethro Tull, which I can see them having a lot of overlap. But I also like listening to Marshall Tucker Band. I like Marshall Tucker Band, but I hate Conway Twitty. Anything that you could call new country makes me want to retch. Lone Star, I think they did. I don't know anything about them except they did that song "Honey, I'm Amazed by You," which in my mind created a whole new genre called wuss country. But yeah. So there you go. And I hate most pop music. I think probably a lot of the bands, it might just be my personality, a lot of the bands I do like, if I had been alive when they were current and popular, I probably wouldn't have liked them. But pop music, I tend to just really dislike most of it because it just really sounds like empty and poppy in like in 1984 when music was written by a computer to appeal to the lowest common denominator. It sounds really pretentious, but like I said, I don't listen to music all that much anyway, so I can be pretentious about it because it's not like a huge part of my life. But obviously, I also have a weakness for some of the songs that I'll start singing during LPs. Bobo the Vulture really does legitimately dislike the Eagles a lot. He's like the dude, the Big Lebowski. He hates the frickin' Eagles, man, but not as much as he hates their solo work. He really does grit his teeth every time I start going in the city. And I don't think I'd really like that song, except that even before I started LPing, I really liked the ending. I loved The Warriors as a movie, and the ending was just kind of fun for me because they actually play that song through all the way through. And the credits are long enough that the credits are ending as the song is ending, and that's it. It's not like in the video game where they had more credits to go, so they had to do more music. It really does fit perfectly. And it's silly, and I listen to him, and I make fun of Bobo, and I make fun of him and air guitar along, and like we're mocking it. But there is a part of me that really does love Ronnie James Dio, and Rainbow, and Dio, and his Sabbath, and like anything. And I really do, when I'm wandering around in a game and there's going to be a mountain, I'm like, oh man, please tell me there's going to be a tinge of that silver in that. So I have an excuse to go, I'm a wheel, I can roll, I can read. You can't stop me turning. I'm the sun, I can move, I can run. But you never stop me burning. Come down with fire, let my spirit higher. Someone's calling my name. Who can make me holy again? I'm the man from the silver mountain. It's any excuse to do that. I'm all over it. Here's a picture of a Scottish guy who is a professional entertainer and a little girl who was in the crowd but for some reason was dressed like a princess. And the next question from Halo. Sorry, Pancakes Guy. Pardon me. I always got you guys mixed up when you first showed up for some reason. I think you were the two guys who were commenting on my videos that were not other LPers, although Nate Halos now is an LPer on rare occasions. He asked, do you ever think of branching out into other game genres for LPs, that is, anything that isn't RPGs, Conquering Ancient China, or boobs? Well, I kind of resent the question because I have done LPs that don't fit into any of those categories, although they don't tend to get as many views. Oh, it's not as many views as the boobs in ancient China. The RPG videos don't get that many views at all. But no, I mean, I've done little things here and there, like Strider. Nobody asked what my least favorite RPG was, or my least favorite LP was. It's probably just because it was, I wouldn't. There's some shorter game, like the games themselves were wretched, but because the LPs were short, and I had got to make a lot of fun of the game, I couldn't include Heart of the Alien or Rocky and Bullwinkle here. But games that I didn't enjoy the games themselves after a while, and I just got frustrated. Whatever I thought I was going to get out of doing the LP, like Bionic Commando, ended up being, for me, not that much fun. There's a lot of fun moments in there, but I had a lot of fun with the plot segments, but there weren't all that many of them, frankly. And Seventh Saga ended up being kind of a bummer. By the end of it, I was always kind of done with the RPGs before I get to the very, very end, but with that game, it happened pretty early. But my favorite LP that I've worked on, I would say fits the category of not being ancient China RPGs or boobs, because my favorite LP that I've worked on, and will probably remain my favorite LP for a long time to come, was Let's Play Together the Warriors. So that wasn't any of those. But as far as branching out into other game genres, well, I've already mentioned that I want to do Metal Gear Solid games and Mass Effect, so I guess that would be branching out. Although there are boobs in both of those game series, but I don't think their boobs are the subject. Okay, here's a picture of IRS. That is not actually IRS headquarters in Scotland or anything. I don't remember. I think it's the S stands for Stewart. I don't remember what the I and the R are for. S might even be for Stewart, actually. I just find it amusing. This is like ancient Scottish IRS. It's like, pay your taxes! Pancake Sky also asks why the name is Sirius JG. Don't tell me it's also from Sailor Moon. Okay, well, I won't. It isn't from Sailor Moon. JG's kind of like my initials. My last name in the real world starts with a G. My first name on my birth certificate, my driver's license, my CAT card starts with a J, but I don't really go by that name. Family refers to me by the Irish version of that name. I don't sometimes wonder why I even got the English version of that name as my name and all my official documentation, but I'm named after my uncle who had the same deal. They use an Irish name to refer to him, but his given name was English. You might even be able to guess what the J is based on that information, possibly. But yes, for me, part of the joke is that mysterious JG. Part of what's mysterious about JG is that I don't actually go by that J at all. But those are my initials, JG. That's why. There is one person out there who, because of a financial transaction, was able to piece together who I am and who Bobo is, based on last names. And I don't remember. I think he came back and told us his real name too. I know his first name. I'm not sure if we got his last name, actually. Jerk. I have to go and find out. I'll have to double check, see if I actually have his last name. Sorry, that's besides one. Since I don't know what I'm talking about. I haven't told you who I'm talking about, so it's making sense to you. Here's a picture of a Mickey Mouse balloon that floated up to, I can't remember now if that's Yorkminster or the Archbishop of Canterbury. It might be at Canterbury. Either way, it's a really important, famous British church. I can't remember now which one it was that had a Mickey Mouse balloon that floated up to the ceiling. And the picture's out of focus, but that's the best picture I was able to get of it. The ceilings were pretty freaking high, and I was taking a picture of it from directly below. Pancake Sky's last question is, how many people on average give you strange looks when you tell them that you record yourself playing games and then upload the footage to YouTube in your spare time? Answer, that's none, because I don't really tell people about that. I just don't. People in my real life world, I don't usually tell them about it. I'll tell you this much. I'm going down to I want to double check. I feel like I missed a question. This might take forever to try to load, though. I do remember telling a cousin in Ireland who's like much younger than me, cousin, like I think of him as a little kid. And He was very excitable, and he was telling me in really excited tones about how he's writing. Oh, I'm writing this Halo story, and it's about this Halo. So this guy, he's like one of the Spartans from like Master Chief, but it's not Master Chief, and it's about him, and he's going through training, and his friends, and he and his friends, they go off and they fight, and it's this like adventure story, and he's telling me about basically his Halo fanfic. And I mentioned to him, well, I don't really play Halo that much, but I do have this kind of hobby where I play video games, and then I'll post it on YouTube. And he's like, well, that sounds pretty geeky to me. So, there you go. That's why I don't really tell people about that stuff. Oh, well, crap. Here, I thought I had, I'm sure that I forgot a couple of questions now, because I remember I asked Bobo's permission to answer somebody's question where they asked, hey, what exactly is your relationship with Bobo the Vulture? You guys obviously have known each other for a long time. I remember that question, but I don't have it on my list of questions on this notepad file. I'm almost done here, so I have to look it up. Alright, well, while we get that going, here's a picture of the reggae box meal from KFC in England. He's got a picture of an Afghanistan KFC. There's a picture of an English KFC advertisement. That's not the text file I want. I want this text file. That's the last of Nate Halos' questions. King Shrike92 says, I've seen you LP a few Dynasty Warriors related games now. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of this one, but have you ever considered LPing Dynasty Tactics? I definitely recommend it, especially if you sometimes wonder what would have happened if, say, Sun Tzu never marched to Xu Shang and I hadn't been wounded. Or hadn't been wounded, not if I hadn't been, or if Guo Jia lived and was at Cherby, which, by the way, is an awesome scene. You get the idea. Of course, you can follow history if you wanted. I'm only saying all this in case you haven't ever played the game. You probably have, though. This is the game that made Guo Jia popular, after all. Well, I don't know if that was the game that made Guo Jia popular. I mean, he's a character in the novel. I don't think Kowai can take responsibility for his many, many fans. But to answer your question, I never really considered LPing it because I've never played it. I know that it exists. I've heard it mentioned before. At one point, I did a real brief research project to see if it would be worth checking out, but I didn't really follow through. I guess my deal is that now I've played tons and tons of Kowai games. If I would think that game didn't get a wide circulation. To get a copy of it now would probably be difficult and would involve eBay or an Amazon seller that sells like old games at high prices. I know Bobo paid a decent chunk of change to get like more than I think a new game for Xbox 360 would have cost to get me a copy of Kessen 3 for PS2. And I would think if I was going to go and get a PS2 game now, I'd probably get Nobunaga's Ambition Iron Triangle rather than another Dynasty game. But no, it's worth a shot. Now that my PS2 emulator is working, maybe I could find a way to I don't know, Kowai. I don't know if Kowai would come down hard on me for emulating that game illegally, because A, they haven't made it really easy for me to get my hands on a legal copy, and B, I can't help but think that I've had at least a handful of people have expressed an interest in getting copies of R2K games after watching my LPs. Maybe they owe me. I don't know. But that was my last question, except I'm thinking now I missed something. I was sure that somebody asked me. There's history buff. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I hallucinated it. I was sure that somebody was going to ask me, or that somebody had asked me, what's the relationship between you and Bobo the Vulture? And now I can't find it. And now the debate raging in my mind is, should I not tell you guys? I even messaged Bobo. I was like, hey, do you mind if I reveal the true secret of our relationship? And I think in the past, the most I've been willing to say was that we are not gay lovers, so just forget that. But now I can't find it, so I'm not sure. I was sure that somebody had asked, but now I don't see it. Maybe I was just thinking that somebody was bound to ask, but they never did. I don't know. Let me go to my sent messages and check and see if anyone asked. Like, somebody asked me if I was going to do any more LPs together with Bobo. Maybe that's what it was. Get this message has done. Can't remember if it was free. I'm paying thanks to advance. Blah 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 blah. Probably a cheesy question. What's your absolute favorite game? Well, now you're getting a first-hand look at how fast my internet is. Maybe I'll just have to edit this out. Someone asked me, and this wasn't a surprise, about our relationship background. Okay, somebody must have asked me because I told Bobo somebody asked me, but now I can't find where they asked me. Maybe it was a comment on a video instead of a personal message. But anyway, to whoever it was asked that question, your picture is an even wider version of the Blues Brothers. The British have come up with an even wider version of the Blues Brothers. The answer to that question, and Bobo basically told me it was okay because he was pretty sure that we'd given it away at several points over the LPs over the years. Bobo's my younger brother in real life, so I've literally known him his entire life. I mean, I wasn't in the operating room when he came out, but I've known him his whole life, and he's known me all but 3 years of mine. Obviously, we haven't been, you know, we went to separate universities and stuff. We haven't been together every second, but, you know, yeah, he's my brother, so we've been, we've known each other as long as we've known just about anybody, and that's pretty much the reason why we have this huge back catalog of history playing games together, because, well, when we were kids, I'm an Army brat, so, you know, Dad was in the Army. We moved every couple of years, which meant that, you know, every 4 years or so you pick up, move somewhere else, so your siblings become, I think, more important sometimes in situations like that. And we were like the constant, you know, male friend that the other one had for during those years, and we spent most of that time playing video games. So that's pretty much the deal there. And like I was saying, when somebody on the internet, we had a financial transaction, and he figured out who we were and that we were brothers because he knew our YouTube names going into this transaction. And then I didn't realize that when we did a PayPal thing with him, I didn't know that, you know, necessarily that the actual name from the payment credit card behind the PayPal thing would kick in, but it did. So he was able to piece together pretty quickly that we're brothers. But the secret's been revealed. He's not the only one who now knows the horrible secret that Bobo and I are brothers. While I'm here, I guess I can check my comments. This will take another 20 minutes to load, so maybe this wasn't a very good idea. But at this point, this video, by the time I edit out the beginning of this thing where I was making sure sound synced, as silly as this sounds, I do have to do a sound sync thing, even if there's not going to be any sound from the computer, just to make sure that what I'm saying corresponds, but the pictures corresponds to what you're seeing in the pictures. Let's look at the last few pictures. I like that picture a lot. It's sort of self-explanatory. Oh, and that was almost perfect. That was the last picture. And then we go back to the Canadians and their dirty, dirty vehicles. I don't think my comments are loading fast enough for me to live, while you watch, deal with my comments. I got a new contact notification. I can pretty much guarantee you that's going to get deleted because I have yet to get one from somebody who I knew who they were. You won't be able to read them properly because of the way I've got the record window set up, but Julu239 says, did anybody notice that Dixie is taller than Aisha? Every so often I still get comments on the Rebel Roses, which is weird because when I was posting them, they were getting a lot of views but very few comments. Native Halos comments on my latest Romance of the Kingdoms video, or my second latest one. 1720, that's the cornerstone of my strategy. I'm sure that will be delightful when I go back and see what you're talking about. Thank you, though, for time stamping. That is so helpful when you're making comments, folks. You really do. You have no idea how much easier it is for me to go figure out what you're talking about. If you make a comment and it's cryptic and I don't get it and there's no timestamp, odds are pretty low that I'm going to do the research to find out, especially now here, because unless it's something I've recorded recently and I have on my hard drive, I'm not going to go download my own video off the internet just so I can see what your comment means. Black Mage says the North is in trouble now. Believe me, unless you're talking about the Gongzungs and Yuan Shao being in trouble from Cao Cao, the North isn't in that much trouble for me at the moment. I'm sorry to say. Contact notifications will take forever to load, but who cares? I'm going to ignore it. So, alright, that's it. 2 hours of your life you'll never get back. I have to figure out what I'm going to do with this video. If I'm going to put in the descriptions what picture corresponds to what question to make it easier for you to... because this was never meant to go 2 hours long. Oh, Jesus Christ, JG, you've just got to learn to cut yourself off. I was complaining I didn't think I got enough questions. Can you imagine if I got lots more questions? I would have had to actually not answer some of them. But yeah, the big thing that I was going to announce in this video, at one point I thought it would even be part of this video, I've been trying to put together a montage of moments from my own LP for fun. This is something that I thought about doing a long time ago as part of a 1-year anniversary. I think I commented on a previous video I recorded recently on how I wasn't going to be able to do that, but then I changed my mind and I started trying to do it. That should be coming up at some point. I couldn't tell you exactly when. I might have it ready to go before this thing's even to Bobo and ready to go. Azel God, I have no idea who that is, so you're getting ignored. Yeah, when you watch it, be forewarned. There's some clips that I put in there, even now they're in there, and I'm like, why'd I put that in? That wasn't really that funny. I'm sure there's much funnier moments in some of these LPs that didn't make it in. There are definitely moments that didn't make it in that are funnier than some of the moments that did make it in. And some of them, there are moments I really found hilarious, but out of context, they don't make sense, and I would have had to put in a lot of material on either side of them to get them in and make them make sense, and I didn't really bother with those, and blah, blah, blah. But really, the big thing to remember with it when it comes out, I don't know how long it's going to be, because I don't want to do more than a couple of clips from each LP to try to keep it short. But the big thing is that I'm limited in what I had to pull from. There will be nothing from Tenchi Muyo RPG, even though I remember really enjoying... Hey, you! Get into my car! That will not be in there. Tenchi Muyo RPG won't be in there. Neither will... There will be nothing in there from Heart of the Alien, Out of This World 2. There will be nothing in there from Wet. And there was one other that's slipping my mind right now. They will be completely unrepresented because I have no videos from those accessible to me on my external hard drive or my laptop here. I can't get my hands on any of those videos. They're completely omitted from this thing. And there are others where there were chunks of... I had some chunks and not others. Like The Warriors. I had almost the entire LP, but for some reason, one of the very few videos that I don't have a copy of on this computer is the one that features one of my favorite lines from any of my LPs, which is... Hey, that's pretty score. And it became this big catchphrase. Can't find that. That's not in there. But there's other stuff from The Warriors. For some reason, I've only got the very end of Breath of Fire. For some reason, I've only got the beginning part of Secret of Mana 2, aka Seiken Densetsu 3, etc. Sometimes the clips that I'm pulling from these games may seem like weird choices, but I may not have had access to the entire LP to pull anything I wanted to. And like for Bionic Commando, there's a couple of fun moments from that game, even though I said it was one of my less favorite LPs. There's a couple of really funny moments in it, but I could only pull one clip because I only had the first couple of videos. So I pulled one clip from there. I couldn't pull the clip from when I started making that one guy talk like right and blah blah blah. I don't know. I'm stretching this thing on. But anyway, this was it. That was 2 hours of me answering questions. I hope somebody watches and enjoys this. If I get another 1,000 subscribers, I think I will learn my lesson and not try to do this again. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Anyway, folks, this was Serious JG. Thank you to everybody who wrote in questions. Thank you to everybody who did not write in questions but did watch. I hope you've enjoyed, and I will hopefully be here long enough to pick up another 2,000 or another 1,000 subscribers before I decide that enough is enough. In the meantime, I can promise you I have no plans to start doing ads in my videos. This one LPer that I was subscribed to who's sort of getting on my nerves because I would comment on his videos and he never commented back. He stopped watching my videos, and I'm not talking about Altiri, I've whined about him before doing this thing, but this guy would occasionally send me a PM asking me how I was doing, but basically just trolling for comments on his channel. And I started noticing after a while he was getting very few views, and he kept posting specials where he talked about himself and asked for feedback, and like he had more videos asking for feedback and announcing the future of his channel than he had LP videos. And I don't know why I'm picking on this poor guy now, but then he recently decided to monetize his videos. He's got, oh, I feel like a dick picking on him, but he has like 5 or 6 views a video, but they now apparently have ads on them, and I haven't watched one since that happened, but I was like, holy crap, really? But no, my solemn pledge is I'm not going to start monetizing these things because I'm not getting enough views for that to make any money, I don't think, and I'm doing this as a hobby. The idea that I could make a living doing this is pretty ridiculous, but I mean, heck, if something changes, maybe, I don't know, but yeah, right now I have no plans to monetize it. It will be completely ad-free. Hopefully it won't be entertainment free. So yeah, thanks for watching. Pipe up with comments on what you'd like to see me do next. I mentioned that somewhere in this video. Talked about Infocom text games and old school games and Mass Effect and Metal Gear and whatnot. But now I just really need to stop talking because my throat's starting to bother me. So hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys around. Bye-bye for now.